Alright, guys, welcome back. We are watching my teen romantic comedy, Snafu, Season 2, Episode 3. Last time, well, Hachiman did it again. He did things the way he always does them. But as he's thinking about it, as he thought himself, there's a level of self-deception that he is engaging in that it makes it feel like his current behavior, the way he's doing things, considering his surroundings now and like the connections he has with all those people and all of this, right? It's unsustainable, right? He either has to continue to lie to himself or change, I suppose, in some meaningful way, which he thinks is like admitting defeat. So, I don't know. I don't know. Feels like it set us up pretty well, I suppose, for I guess I'm just curious. I'm curious what Yui and Yukino will do with the conflict that they have, considering Hachiman's actions in the last episode. Um, I suppose that's about it. So I guess we'll just get started. I swear this is like the exact same shot that started the previous episode. Maybe I'm crazy though. I don't know. Okay, watch episode 3. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Where's Yukino? She needs to see that cat fast. Ooh. I feel like she is rarely serious like this. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. That's what he would always say, though. Come on. Huh? Hmm. She would know, huh? She's known him for a long time. Oh, I feel like we've never, like, had this, you know? Oh, and I wonder how like, does that get under his skin? Sure. Ooh, yeah, yeah. But to be asked about other people like that, hmm. Oh, it really is bothering him, like, a lot. A lot of other ways you could say it. Come on. Interesting. Huh. Ooh, really? Yeah. Huh. I feel like we've never. So, whoa. Yeah. Man, normally, like, it's clear that she cares a lot about him. You know, she's always kind of worked in the backgrounds to like do stuff. Not even in the background, just very blatantly tried to set him up, right, for stuff. But I feel like we never really had her just directly like asking him in that way. You know, that kind of direct like confrontation. I guess it shows how serious this is. You know, she knows him better than anyone, really. She can tell when something's off. All it takes is a crack. Why does Shizuka get arrested? Drain me of all warmth. We brought up that idea of like warmth. You know what I mean? I like the beginning of this season, he was talking about the cold winds arriving or whatever. I don't know. What does it mean to him? If these lyrics are meant to be in some way, from his perspective, or Yukino's, maybe. Both of them, perhaps. Fairy tale ending. I don't think we can have a fairy tale ending. right? I don't know. That's an interesting idea, isn't it? Hachiman would also think there's no such thing as a fairy tale ending, right? Ooh, as always, I suppose. Even Tosca can tell, right? Ah, interesting. Man, it's kind of like worked its way into him, this whole problem, more than I feel like we've ever seen anything else, you know? His thoughts about Yukino and stuff, he put so much effort into brushing it aside, like internally, it felt like. Hmm. Ooh, interesting. Does he force himself to drink coffee if he doesn't like it? Ooh, I love the vibes. Ooh, is it time to go? Oh, that exhale, that sound, his like voice shaking. Doesn't even want to walk in, huh? It's that much of a like. Is it because of like their? Oh, that was cool. Because like their expectations. I don't know. It's okay. I thought he was gonna leave. I literally thought he was about to walk out. I'm like, come on, say something, Hachiman. God, that is big that he still showed up, right? It'd be so easy to cut people off. Of course, Yuri's the one to say something. Ooh. Does that mean it all worked? Does that mean you were right? I don't think so. Oh, I don't know. But what about us? What about our group? Ooh. Sure. Can you ever really understand another person's thinking? That's what he always wants, isn't it? To just act like normal forever? What does that even mean? Hmm. Right. Oh. Hmm. What's up? Okay, another job. Are we in the shape for that, huh? Can serve as a distraction, I suppose. Oh, what's up? Yeah, Meguri. And you, Iroha. I don't think we've ever been introduced to her. Ooh. What's with that face, huh? Come on. Ah, I see. Stop staring at her, Hachiman, please. Hmm. Yeah, what's the issue, huh? Oh, interesting. Does she not want to win? Okay, then why are you running? Yeah. Ooh, this feels very relevant. Ah. Ooh. Okay, okay. Yeah, that is a lot. A lot indeed. Hmm. Well, did people conspire to nominate her against her wishes, or... Oh, I see. Hmm. Oh, there's lots of stuff here. There's lots of stuff here. Okay. So we just need... Okay, okay. And Hachimon's gonna volunteer? Yeah, yeah. Oh, but no, we can't... Come on. We can't do this again, right? Ooh. Yeah, right? Like, it's just the same thing as always. Okay. I bet if it's not you, right? No one's gonna volunteer for it, right? Yeah. Ooh. Interesting. Yeah, probably, right? That wouldn't really solve the problem. She wants to come up with anything, right? Oh, her voice there. God. Well, I mean, she just wants to argue against it so badly, of course. Ooh. So would one of us run then, huh? No way it'd be Yukino, right? She could win, probably, but that's kind of reversing the problem, huh? Would Yukino want that? Oh, okay, okay. Oh, right. Is that really a battle? Right, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Uh-huh, uh-huh. What about Hachimon? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she needs to take a more active role here, huh? Maybe that's what we need. Yeah. Oh. Ah, but that just... sure, sure. True. Yeah. Will there ever be, though? Ooh. Sure. Oh, this is really, like, causing a rift here, huh? Ah. Oh. Sure, right? And he's, like, fighting so hard to maintain it, isn't he? Like, within himself. Ah, I suppose, but... I could guess. I don't know. Ooh. You won't be able to help somebody when you most want to. Yeah. Hmm. Someone who cares about you. You can't really help them in this way, right? And that's who you'd want to help the most. Ooh. Oh, Haruno. Look at his face. Oh god, come on. Oh, been a little bit since we've seen her. He just starts reading, just ignoring her. God. I calm down. I sure. That's God. What an answer to give. Of course, from his perspective. Yeah, I the kind of progress that you might want though. I don't know. Ooh. Well, maybe she thinks she has to, you know? It's her place. Oh. Yeah. Right, right. What would Haruno's approach to this be? I wonder. No. Would Haruno want Yukino to run? It's still the question of what Haruno's really wants for her. She wants her to make her own decisions, right? Ah, interesting. There was a very different tone of voice there, huh? It's like her, it's like it broke for a second. It's Orimoto, what's up? Oh no, it's people from the dark days of his past. Oh god, terrifying. Oh god, Haruno, save us, please. Oh no, what's, what do they know about him? Oh god, right, sure. Oh no, yeah, he hates this, right? This is the worst thing ever. I guess. Oh god. This is the most stressful thing ever. Yeah, what do we even say? Yeah, I don't know. I not really. I don't really think so. Sure. Is that the middle option? Ooh. Ah, man. And the way. Oh God. I don't say that. Please. No. Oh no. Oh, it's so over. Oh God. Oh God. Oh. Oh, interesting. Out of pity. That's how we would always feel. Oh, God. Poor kid. Ah, he sure does. He has not moved on. Ah, God. Of course, right? Hmm. Oh, but they're both actually so similar in a lot of ways. Oh, really? They're like best friends or something? Like, really? Yeah. Oh, God. What are we doing? Oh, man. This was Hachiman's worst nightmare, huh? Yeah, Haruno, what are we doing, huh? I don't believe you. There's gotta be more to it. Indeed. Okay, I suppose. God. I enjoy Haruno. Oh, Hachiman and Hayama now alone. You could say that. I don't know. Maybe. Hmm. Ooh. Interesting. Yeah. Huh. She's so similar to Hachiman in so many ways. It's just like, ah, oh, Yui, what's up? God. Oh. I just feel like there's this endless conflict in his mind right now that he just cannot overcome. He's probably gonna tell her he just doesn't even want to be involved. Ah, because this could cause such a rift, you know? Okay, sure. He agreed to it right away. Ooh. Interesting that he's thinking of it in that way. What if it doesn't pan out like that, huh? What would that mean? Sure, I suppose. So that might be asking for too much. Oh, I feel like Yukino is going to be the one that runs, but... Ooh. I, I suppose, yeah. Like who? Oh, his way is much simpler. Oh, this music. One time. Yeah, no. It's something, yeah, you have to do it over and over again all the time, right? What he's been doing for the whole show, you know? For yourself, it has. Oh, yeah. It's superficial in the way that it avoids the root of the problem, right? Yeah. God. Look at her face. Like, they just break into this crazy argument. Oh, really? Wow. Oh. And then, if the bonds between them can be broken by what's being called, oh, superficial like that, then oh god, then what does that mean for Hachiman and the way he views relationships and everything, you know? Oh god, it is really this epic battle of their of everything that is important to them in a way, you know? Because they just have different ideas of what it means to be superficial and change and all of that, right? Oh god. A bit hollow. Hmm. I like these lyrics. They're good. Ooh, yeah, the world could fall apart, huh? The empty chair. The empty chair. Okay, talk about the episode and the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. This might have been like my favorite episode of the whole show. I don't know. I really loved this episode a lot. I just love the mood. I mean, it's a very sad, like almost like oppressive, dark mood throughout the entire episode, but I really enjoy it. I really liked this episode. I don't know. It would really be close between this episode and the last one. The last one obviously was more of a, was a it's kind of the climax of a lot of stuff, right? It was a big like turning point in a way, and this is kind of the fallout, the outcome of all of that in a way. But I don't know. This episode was so good, so good. I got Moharu now, which is always like she is maybe one of the most interesting characters to me. I mean, hard to say, right? Like for sure, she definitely is. Maybe like after Hachiman and Yukino, maybe she's like number three for me. Hard to say, but it's God. Every time she's on screen, she is such a she really takes control of every scene she's ever in, right? Like very like literally, is like the puppet master controlling every scene that she's in. She's so interesting. She's so similar to Hachiman in so many ways, right? She's so much like him. She's so much like him in the way she views other people, the way, they've directly compared Haruno to Hachiman in the way that they both like play the villain and that kind of thing. Whereas with her, she's much older than Hachiman, right? She was unable to change, I suppose, right? It's like she didn't learn the same lessons, I guess, that hopefully Hachiman will be learning soon. So all of this whole episode to me, like what's going on in Hachiman's head, is he just has this deep, uh, unresolvable conflict. Like it's just like I just don't even know. I don't even know what we don't get like any of his thoughts in this episode. It feels like it really feels like he is hiding the way he feels about all of this from us and like from himself. It's like he himself doesn't even want to think. It feels because thinking is like scary, I guess in this case. He is so adamant in his ways. He is so against change. He refuses to acknowledge that idea, that possibility, anything, right? Of course. And it's like he has to shut down thinking about it or anything like that within himself, in his own thoughts, because change is normal and it's unavoidable. It will happen. Change is coming for you, Hachiman. No matter what he wants or thinks or anything, it's going to happen. And he is really delaying the inevitable, right? And what Yukino calls him out for a couple times in this episode is that superficiality of not addressing the root of the issue, right? She obviously like she's talking about this very, specific situation here with Iroha and this whole election stuff. All of this, right? Which we'll talk about more because I think a lot of the stuff about it can be thought about and applied in an interesting way to like Hachiman and maybe Yukino and like I don't know, a bunch of stuff in the story. She's talking about that, right? Like how, we're not addressing the root of that issue, but like that's just how Hachiman is with everything, right? Not addressing the root of the issue for anything, for himself, for the way he feels and the way he interacts with others and everything. He really what he's doing is trying his hardest to uphold this superficiality, whatever the opposite of being like genuine is. He's running away from it. He refuses to engage with that. Which is supposed to be the opposite of what we do in this club. I guess it's like the idea to me is it feels like Yukino has embraced the change that her relationship with Yui and Hachiman and all these experiences she's had in the volunteer club has like brought on her, right? She's embraced it much more and has allowed herself, I suppose, to be changed by it or like recognize that change within herself much more than Hachiman has, right? It's Hachiman vainly trying to hold on to the the superficiality, as she said, right? Of the way he basically lived his life before. Um, it just makes me think of everything, the whole way that Hachiman views relationships. The long speeches he goes on, his very negative way. That I always feel like there's always something he says that's kind of true. He's never like completely wrong, and there's some element of truth to what he says. But I think calling it superficial is a very good way to say it, right? It's like he discards people's feelings and emotions and the way that they feel about it, and he views all social interactions in this very analytical, but like devoid of like soul. I don't know what better word to use. Like way, you know? In a sense, you really can call Hachiman's whole outlook on the world and everything as being superficial. His view of himself, his view of change, his view of everything, you know? And I guess Yukino's just had that realization too, you know? Um, and I guess it all just comes back to what Hachiman did in the last episode, I suppose, right? Something about his action there, despite the fact that he's done this so many times, that this is the way he's been doing things since the beginning. Something about it finally pushed Yukino over the edge, and I guess made her realize how far Hachiman is willing to go to fight against change, to uphold the superficiality that he wants so badly to hold on to, you know? Um, I don't know what exactly made it so different for her, other than, like what Yui said about how it hurt just seeing him say that and do that right then, right? It probably did for Yukino as well. I think they had very similar feelings, you know. It's just for Yukino, this was a more personal thing that was hurt more by it, you know. Like compared to Hachiman, a lot of the stuff that Hachiman's done, like at the end of season one, for example, right? The all the stuff he said on the roof and all of that, you know, at least Yukino wasn't there watching him do it, you know what I mean? So I just feel like it opened her eyes in a way, I guess. We have this clear, very clear conflict between these two now, you know? I think it's very funny how in this scene, like they just really get into it, and then Iroha's face when they're like arguing like this. It's God. Like what does it seem like from her perspective, you know? Um, yeah, we'll have a lot more to talk about with all of that. We will have a lot more to talk about with all that. I really like this opening scene with Komachi because Komachi cares about Hachiman a lot, for sure, right? She's kind of always God, it's like she hasn't been in the background. She's very much been in the foreground, very blatantly trying to navigate her brother into hanging out with people and stuff, you know, like her not very subtle way to make him and Yui go to the firework festival, all of that, you know. Um, but she never really just comes out and like says it in a way. She always like skirts around it because she knows that's how Hachiman is, right? It's like if she says like, "Hey, you should go to the firework festival with Yui, wouldn't that be awesome?" How would Hachiman react to that? We all know how he would react to that, right? So the fact that she can tell that something is so wrong with him, that something has bothered him so much that she like directly says something like this about it, that in and of itself is makes it more clear than anything about Hachiman's own behavior to me, because she knows him better than anyone, really. That this really has affected him so much, you know. And I guess the fact that she directly asks him about if anything happened with Yui and Yukino and all of that, right? The fact that he's clearly so bothered by it that she felt the need to ask about that, you know. How do you think Hachiman feels about that, right? Like, oh, that probably really gets under his skin with the way he thinks about like relationships and everything, you know, that someone is asking him about how he feels about this interpersonal relationship issue and all of this, you know, like he wanted to distance himself from all of that for so long, you know, for years. That's been like the basis of his way of viewing relationships and everything, you know. So it's like God, it probably really bothers him. It probably really it makes him want to hold on even more to not changing. It makes him, tighten his grip on his unchanged self in some way, even more than before, if he thinks he's this close to slipping, you know? Because in his mind, it probably is a slip up if he's letting this affect him like that, you know? So much so that Komachi, like, says something about it, you know? Yeah, yeah. My life's been as boring as watching paint dry. They say no news is good news, but I think any news is better than completely uneventful. I guess. I like how she literally just doesn't acknowledge what he says and just repeats herself. Like, what is the matter? Like, literally, right? What the hell are you talking about, man? Like, God. Long story short, nothing happened. Of course. I mean, that's what he would always say, right? Oh, God. Kamachi's another character that definitely has, like, changed a lot in the new art style, huh? Well, did you know? What are you, Geico? Like, what was the original joke here? He did not say Geico. I'm very curious what the Japanese whatever it was. You've always been prone to saying the dumbest things, but they get even dumber when you're feeling down. Good to know. Good to know. I mean, that's true. I guess that's true, right? Like, if you want to say that all of his very, like, self-serving internal monologues about his own thoughts or him saying dumb things, which is kind of unfair, maybe though, maybe though. Like sure, like makes me think of God, what episode was it? Just that episode that ended with him having all those thoughts about Yukino and like his expectations of her and that idea about lying and all of that. That's the other one that really stands out to me. And it's interesting, it feels very meaningful to me that we were able to get past that issue, right? That was an issue that Hachimon, it bothered him a lot, right? That whole problem with Yukino lying to him, like not really in my mind, but sure, right? That bothered him a lot, right? And that was an issue that, he came out of it blaming himself and saying he hated himself for feeling like that because it like comes from another person in a way. I think that like makes sense that's how he feels about like interpersonal relationships, right? Um, but that was like an issue in a way that he had with like another person to like really dumb it down, right? What's the problem here? What is the whole conflict we're having right now between himself and all these other characters? Well, it's like his own actions. It's something he has done. Something that if he says that he hates himself for his own actions, oh god, like that's bad. You know what I mean? That's something that he can't, especially his own actions that in his mind do uphold like his worldview and everything, right? Obviously in the last episode he thought to himself that he recognized this was a deception that he was upholding. um it just feels like this unfixable problem, his when he had this problem with Yukino about her lying and all of this back in season 1, he came out of it thinking that he hates himself for it because he shouldn't have had those expectations in the first place, all of this, right? The reason why he formed the mentality that he had about relationships in the first place was to protect himself from that feeling, right? But what's the problem now? It's like if the action that he's taken here that is in line with what he's always done, right? It's just more Hachimon stuff, and yet it leaves him feeling like this. The people he cares about feeling like this about him. All of this, then what's the outcome for him? Because if he starts hating himself for living up to the things that he thinks, make him who he is and that he should hold on to more than anything, what do we do? Right? What do we do then? Especially if he refuses to change, if he thinks, if that's what's waiting for him on the other side is that idea of change that he's so afraid of, that he refuses, that he thinks is admitting defeat. God, right? It's such a different like issue that's much more important to him in a way, right? In that sense, it's interesting because it's like even his own internal problems, like back in season 1, he would solve them by sacrificing himself in some way, turning that hatred to himself rather than outwardly, putting on another person. In this case, it's like that solution won't really work, I think. He can't do that. I just feel like that's why it's such a different vibe to it. It just feels like he's really standing still. He really doesn't know what to do, I think. Like we get a lot of shots like that of him just standing around wasting time in this episode, standing in the stairwell, staring at his phone, looking at the time, like dreading going upstairs to the volunteer club room, right? Standing right outside the door. I really think that's like the vibe I get from it, is he doesn't even know what to think. He doesn't have, unlike back in season 1, he doesn't have some long, you know, ruminatory line of thinking to go down to to tell himself how he should feel about this whole situation, right? It's much more like real in that way, in my mind. Ooh, and that is the question he doesn't want to hear, I think. He doesn't want to hear people ask that about him. He doesn't want that to affect his behavior and like his feelings. That's what he's afraid of. Because I think that's what all like fear of relationship like comes down to in my mind, right? Is that fear of like the feelings that relationship will give you, what that relationship will do to you. That's what it always comes back to. Like no matter what justifications Hachiman has for all of his stuff, which has just always been cope. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and I mean, he's, as he says, yeah, easier said than done, I guess. In his own mind, he doesn't even know what to think about it, I think. Yeah, yeah. God, and that is such a he won't even tell won't talk to her at all, right? It's such a different vibe than the way their interactions normally are, you know? It really is. It really is. God. And she really gets mad, you know? Yeah, don't blame her. God. Hmm. I really love the lyrics of both the opening and the ending. They're really good. I like them a lot. It's like would you say that they're in a sense from Hachimon's perspective or from like Yukino's perspective? I could see either. I could see either in a way. I don't know. I don't know. They feel very relevant to just about everyone, you know. We have this opening scene. We look at the group, as always, the group that we tried so hard to maintain in a way, at the cost of Hachimon's self and all this stuff, and kind of their own group, right? We've introduced the schism in their group through all of this, you know? Yeah, yeah. Yui, as always, kind of sitting a little bit far away from it, in a sense, right? She's kind of part of it, kind of not. I don't know, I don't know. A world that chose not to change. A world that wished to maintain the status quo, huh? I think that's kind of how it always is, right? That's the easiest thing to do, is to not change. It's easier to not change than to change. A lot of the time there's change that will happen to you that is inevitable and you can't prevent, right? Um, but yeah, the world itself at large, especially in terms of large like systems like this, if you want to view like social interactions on a larger scale, is just some kind of system in that sense. Yeah, the status quo is always going to be maintained for the most part, you know. Individual parts of it might change, right? Like the way people view Hachiman and all of that, but the system at large might not change that much, of course. Oh, even Totsuka can't cheer him up. Like that is crazy, isn't it? Like that is how we know. That is how we know Hachiman is one step away from the edge. Like like oh god, when Totsuka can't even do anything, like oh Jesus, he needs to see a therapist fast. Like we need to call the mental health crisis hotline. Like this is bad. This is bad. Situation normal. Of course he would want to think of it like that, right? God, they put so much effort into all these random like background characters, like character designs and stuff, don't they? I guess only the girls. The boys over here have the same hair color. I mean, the same hairstyle with a changed color and nothing else. But you know, look at these two. Are we ever going to learn their names? Probably not. But it feels like they put a lot of effort into it. Hmm. Oh, it's so many moments of Yui. I feel so bad for Yui. She's trying so hard to keep them together, right? That's what she always does. She puts so much of her like she thinks it's her responsibility, right? To try and maintain things like that and keep it together and all of that. Like back in season 1 when she thought it was her responsibility to fix everything between her and Hachiman, you know. In a way that is also a kind of a self-destructive way to think, a self-destructive way to feel. You can't do that for everything. You can't fix everything by yourself, you know? Hmm. But it's like that's really what she's trying to do in this episode, you know? I mean, she's always framed in the middle of the table between Yukino and Hachiman, right? She's always the one who tries to hold it together in some way, right? It's like she's trying to she convinced Hachiman to show up at the club at the end of the episode, right? Like, ah, God, I just but if it has to be between Hachiman and Yukino, really, it has to be Hachiman. Really, I feel like he's the one that so much of the responsibility for the whole situation lies on. Yui can't take responsibility for all of it, right? Obviously, I mean, she can't take responsibility for any of it, really. He gets some coffee, thinks how bitter it is. Does he punish himself by drinking it? Maybe. Oh, yeah. Here's that stairwell scene. It's so like, it feels so solitary. Just him looking at the window, you know. It's a very beautiful school, isn't it? Wants to make sure he's fashionably late. I suppose. Maybe wanted to wait until they were in the middle of a conversation when he walked in, so it would be like less less awkward. I don't know. I don't know. Oh God, but I wonder how he feels about the fact that he even has those feelings, right? The fact that he even feels like this, that he feels like the relationship is this meaningful in a way that he has these feelings about it in the first place. Like, what does he feel about that? You know, like that is that not a betrayal of himself in some sense, like in and of itself? You know, maybe right, like from his perspective. I like what they do with the subs here. They follow the door as he opens it. Oh God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Hmm. And Yui tries to. Oh God, I don't know. She tries to like spin it and make it seem like it's all fine, but like I don't know. It's just not right. She's really just bringing up the subject that we're all we're all having these problems over. There didn't seem to be anything wrong from what I could see. Well, what about yourself and all of that? Ah, God. They were all the same as ever, right? Just like Hachiman, the same as ever. Nothing changed. Fighting to uphold that. I'm not sure I understand them anymore. That is such an interesting thing for her to feel, huh? Hmm. Just the whole dynamic of the group, right? It probably is like no matter what Hachiman did here, there's no way that he has left, the whole group with Ebina and everyone, like perfectly unchanged the way it was before, right? Like no, there's unsaid things between them, this tension for sure, right? That like yeah, yeah. Never been able to understand their thinking. Knowing each other is one thing, but understanding is an altogether different matter. I think you can never really completely understand another person and their way of thinking, right? It's like I've watched like some videos about it that have really made me like think. It's like that idea that there's this version of yourself in your head that exists. The real you, I guess you can say, if you define the version of yourself in your head as the real you, right? That will only ever exist in there, right? Like there's no way to ever have another person truly know what the inside of your head is like and like the things you think about yourself, the way you think about anything, all of that, right? You can do your best to express yourself like genuinely, I suppose, right? But you will never have a complete understanding of another person. And that's interesting, right? Because it's like, what would Hachiman think of that idea in the first place? Like, does he think he should be able to? That's a bar you have to clear for a relationship to be real in a way. Because if so, I think that's impossible. It's like Hachiman himself probably understands for sure that it's impossible for anyone to truly understand him in like a completely 100% transparent way. I think all individuals can understand that on some level. Um, but then it's interesting because it's almost like he's unfair about that with other people, in terms of the way he wants to understand them entirely. Like just again that whole problem he had with Yukino back in season 1. I guess that's what he said he hated himself for was like imagining that he understood her in some way. Yeah, yeah. Well, let's not get too hung up on it. Carrying on like normal would be the best thing to do. No, 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 it wouldn't be. No, not at all. Right? You can't just carry on like normal forever. Not at all, right? No, that would be ignoring the problem, for sure. So that's what you consider normal, right? What is normal? Yeah, yeah. You're saying you won't change, aren't you? Of course, right? Obviously. Oh, it affects her so much. We have so many good moments in this episode of like Yukino and like other characters too, just like they take like a shaky breath or they take like it's just something clear that is really emotionally affecting them. It's very good. It's very impressive from like the voice actors. Anyway, Shizuka's here with our new job. We got another one lined up, huh? Surely this one won't be as disastrous as the previous. I don't know how it possibly could be. But God, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the volunteer club right now feels like it is on the verge of shattering entirely. Anyway, we got Meguri, Shira Meguri, and Iroha, a new character. Unless it's possible that we've seen her before and we just didn't know her name, right? I feel like I would have no way of knowing because like we have a new art style. Like it's not even if she was like a character in the background that we saw before in like season 1, I would not recognize her. I have no idea, but um, she is she's interesting. I can't tell. Hachiman looks like this at her, which like, what the hell is your problem? Is there some kind of untold past in between these characters right now that we don't know about, or is it just Hachiman's immediate first impressions of her and all of this, affecting the way he sees her right away, right? Maybe, maybe. Hmm. Or for another thing, he's probably trepidatious about taking on another job in and of itself, right? Anyway, so what this is all about for Iroha is being the candidate for the student council president, and she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to win, right? I feel like there's some interesting ideas there, some interesting stuff you could probably connect to other characters, right? It makes me think of like wasted effort, maybe, right? Or like we don't really get into why she doesn't want to do it, do we? It's again, it's kind of in that same vein of maintaining the status quo, maybe, right? Like she just doesn't want to take on that responsibility. She just doesn't want it for some reason, right? Even if maybe she'd be good for it, you know? Um, it's very I don't know. It just makes you think. It makes me think about Yukino and like her relationship with like responsibility and the place that she thinks she is in and what she has to do in that way, right? Or Hachiman, like yeah, yeah. But apparently, so people call me slow or thick-headed all the time. I don't think that of you. Why would I think that from looking at you? You look normal. It's no problem. So she's running for president, but yeah, she doesn't want to win. People, apparently up to 30 people had to conspire together, I suppose, to nominate her. Which is weird, right? Like that is a weird, like it was all just a funny prank or something. That feels strange, right? I wonder if there's more to the story that we aren't getting. That initially she did want them to try and nominate her, right? Like she did want it, and now she's having second thoughts, or maybe even she wanted to be nominated. The nomination in and of itself means something to her, but she doesn't actually want to win, you know? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of ways it could go, you know? Yeah, she didn't volunteer for it. People entered me without me asking. I stand out in a bad way, I guess. But yeah, she seems like she'd be hated by the other girls. I wonder why. It reminds me of a certain someone from junior high. Is he thinking of the character we meet later, Orimoto? That was her name, right? Oh god, the girl that Hachiman confessed to, part of his horrible dark past. I stand out in a bad way, I guess. I'm the soccer team's manager and get along with Hayama Senpai and the gang. So I think I built up an image without realizing it. That is that is also an interesting thing, right? Her building up an image without realizing it, right? The same way it's like all these feelings and this relationship and this the group that Hachiman is now in has kind of snuck up on him without him realizing it, you know? A girl with guys in the palm of her hand, playing with them like a juggler and her props. I mean, that's how he feels about everyone. So I don't I don't know how realistic, how real that is, especially if he's just saying that from his impressions of her, right? Hmm. And God, and that's so interesting too, because it's like Hachiman has such a negative view of all of that, of like social dynamics in that way, and people, people acting like this, I guess. But Hachiman does like the same thing in a sense, doesn't he? Right? Like I guess he always thinks of himself to be the one on the bad end of it, on the negative receiving end of whatever he does, but he's someone who carefully manipulates these social situations and all of that, you know? But I guess in his head, it really is like outcome based. It's really about, I guess, like what Shizuka says later, right? That's all that matters, I guess, is the outcome. You know, if it's him taking all the flack, then it's fine. Yeah, it would be quite the elaborate prank, huh? You need 30 nominations to become a candidate. So I don't know. I don't know. Was it something she wanted, and now she's having second thoughts? She wants to back out of it. You know? It's like she wants people to think that she tried and did her best, but she just lost, you know? She's like she wants to have that image of someone who at least tried at something but just couldn't achieve it, you know, and that's enough for her. Maybe, maybe. You don't want the Post just lose the election. Well, I mean, sure, right? Obviously, but she's the only candidate, so we can do a vote of no confidence, which, like, man, the school elections in this high school have better systems for democracy than like America. That's crazy. Losing one would make me look super lame. So we do set up that she cares a lot about like her, the way people view her and everything. Most people do, obviously, Which again is just another idea to me that maybe in the first place, running for student council president but not actually wanting to get it might mean something. Maybe she wanted to run for it because of what that would do for her image. Maybe. So Hachiman thinks of what he always thinks about, right? God, we really don't get his thoughts, like barely at all in this episode, huh? But just like always, right? We got to give, he has this self-sacrificial idea to just give this horrible campaign speech to make her lose, right? Same thing as always, And Yui can immediately tell, he's doing the same thing. It's like he's realized it too. It's like he didn't even think about it, He didn't even think about what, their conversations last episode, her telling him to make the last time. But no, he just it's not that easy. He just goes back to his same way of thinking right away, you know. But it's interesting how he doesn't like say, "Oh, it'll be me." He backs off it a little bit. He's like, anyone who's willing and able should be fine, but who would do it other than you, right? It's like that if you're the one who comes up with that plan, no one's going to volunteer for it other than yourself. Yeah, yeah. God, and Yukino goes off here, right? She wants to come up with so many reasons. She wants to argue against it so much. It bothers her so much the way Hachimana does stuff now. A speech bad enough to cause a vote of no confidence will cause problems. Right? Yeah, probably will, right? For Ishiki-san. Yeah, yeah. And even if she does lose that motion, do you really think it would be a re-election? Also, people don't care about the student council. Nobody'd mind if we withheld the vote tallies and just announced the results. So if we want, there are any number. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do that though, but hmm. So we've got to back a different candidate. I feel like it has to be Yukino. I don't know who the candidate for this could be other than Yukino, right? And if Yukino is going to run for student council president and win, right, that is really interesting. It's really interesting. We have some thoughts from Haruno later in the episode of her thinking about how she was never student council president. And it's like she says it was like so lame or something, which I think she's saying in reference to like the fact that Yukino is also not running for it, right? Like she's not saying that about not ever having been student council president. It's more so about her goals for Yukino, right? Wanting her to be independent, I suppose, not wanting her to follow in her footsteps and stuff. So Yukino running for student council president would be interesting in that case. Would Haruno want her to? I think she would. Probably, because it's just something different than what Haruno herself did. But you could also view it in the lens of Yukino wanting to be student council president could be that's very much in the same vein of her trying to accept those expectations and responsibilities that she thinks she has to live up to, right? Even if Haruno never did it. I mean, being a student council president very much fits into that same like pile of things. So I don't know. And then how do Yukino herself actually feel about it, right? If she does run and if she wins, right? Does she want to be student council president? If she's almost sacrificing herself in that sense, right? Then that's interesting. Like I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. So we ask Shizuka, we ask Hiratsuka Sensei about who's winning the battle about who is best to help others with their problems, right? It's been a while since we brought that up, huh? And she just kind of says, I don't know, she says a tie, basically. Her prejudiced evaluation. If we go by results over all else, Hikugai is one step ahead. I hate that. I don't like that, but sure. I guess, in a sense, right? If we take the process and long-term vision into account, Yukinoshita comes out on top. All said and done, though, Yuigahama's contributions also seem vital to keeping this club afloat. Yeah, of course, right? Like, obviously, it's a club. It's not a solitary action in the first place, just like life, right? It's very much it's a collaborative thing, just like everything is, you know what I mean? So, of course, I don't think anyone's gonna win this, there's never gonna be a clear victor. Like, come on, right? There can't be. God, that's how I want all this to be resolved, I guess. That's actually an interesting thought, because Hachiman's way of doing things, I don't like it, obviously, right? And, Yukinoshita doesn't like it either, for sure, but I don't know. I don't know. I just have to see where we'll be going with that, I guess. I can't decide what I think, I guess. It would feel weird if Yukino just like wins. You know what I mean? It would feel strange. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We aren't there yet. I think the results of this whole deal that we're talking about. I don't know. I don't know. If anything, it'll be Hachiman's gonna change, surely, right? So I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we have really formed a schism in the group for sure, right? Hachiman won't even be part of all of this because of his methods. And Yukino leaves as he leaves him with I thought we both hated superficiality more than anything. Yeah, that's such a oh, that is a deep cut for him, isn't it? Right? Like his own thoughts again, his own thoughts on Yukino back in season one, the way he thought all he was seeing was some superficial part of her that he idolized in his head, you know? It's like, oh god, that's so good. It's so good. Oh, man. He talks to Shizuka. I don't know. I don't know. She says some stuff that seems meaningful. It just feels like none of it really gets through to Hachiman at all. I don't know what Hachiman needs to feel or think or hear. Uh, to get through all this, you know? If you stick to your ways, you won't be able to help somebody when you most want to. Yeah, very much so, right? Because the people you want to help the most are people who mean a lot to you, right? And those people are the ones who would be hurt the most by Hachiman's process of helping people, right? Which like he saw through this, the way Yukino and Yui were both so hurt by what he did, you know? Imagine if he was doing that in pursuit of helping them with a problem, you know? He certainly can't take this approach, you know? So, yeah, yeah. Hmm. He almost sent something to Komachi, but he doesn't. Hmm. Interesting. And he has I don't know. Saika's the only person he's like texted in forever. Like I don't know. I guess that makes sense. Hmm. God, God, we have a schism in the group. We have a schism between him and Komachi. We have this. I even Tatsuka can't cheer him up. I mean, it's so bad. It's so bad. But here's Haruno here to save the day. I love the face he makes. God. Hmm. Haruno is so interesting. She is so interesting. Asks him about Yukino, of course, the same as ever, obviously, right? That's how he feels about it, right? And she says good to hear, which is interesting. I don't know. I don't know. That's God. They're so similar to each other. I wonder how like Haruno wants Yukino to be independent. That's my idea of what she wants for her. She doesn't want her to fall into the same path, the same problems that Haruno sees with her own life and everything, right? How does that relate to the idea of like change and everything, you know? I don't know. I guess you could say, oh, that Yukino following the same path as Haruno is Yukino allowing herself to be changed by the environment in that way, right? Is not letting her real self exist and just follow, being forced down that path, following those same influences that led Haruno to where she is now. And she doesn't want that, right? And that's kind of again, that's like a similar thing between the way Haruno and Hachiman feel about like change in my mind, right? Hmm. And God, she says something really interesting here. Um, she hates us, but she doesn't want us to hate her in turn. That makes sense, right? That really does. I mean, that's a very human thing to feel. I think everyone can understand that, right? Like hating another person is a lot easier than being hated for God, for most people, right? Not for Hachiman, like as I say that, At least he wouldn't admit that, it's like he wants to accept the hatred from others. He turns hatred for other people into hatred for himself, you know? Hmm. Very interesting. Like think about this line right here, compared to the way that Hashimon thought about his feelings about Yukino back in season one. You know what I mean? When with all the lie stuff. God. Not all the major events are done and dusted, so as we be focusing on your entrance exams. Well, I guess. I wonder how Hachimon does in school, huh? Did he keep turning in essays that are just like crazy manifestos? Or has he improved a little bit? I don't know. I don't know. We talked about the student council election. And this whole idea about Yukino doing it, right? Haruno says that she assumes Meguri would have asked Yukino-chan to succeed her, but she didn't, right? Which like how would Haruno feel about that? That would kind of fit into that same idea of like the pressures and expectations on Yukino that force her to be a certain way, or that she feels like the pressure to be a certain way and do certain things, right? Hmm. I was never president either. How lame. And her voice changes so much when she says that, you know? Ah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say exactly about how she feels about that because I can see it both ways. I can see it both ways in terms of how she would feel about Yukino potentially being student council president. It's anyway, this horrible thing happens where ghosts from Hikigaya's past show up to torment him, which is one of the girls he confessed to in middle school that led him to where he is now. He thought they were going to stay buried in the darkest depths of his memories, but they have come to torment him in his darkest hour. Like Orimoto Kaori is here to ruin everything. His reaction to it is so like, oh god, she seems so insensitive, right? Like, what? You can't say this. Like, come on. She's so like, oh god, she's so rude. You know, she just doesn't. She does not take a hint, like the way Hachiman is acting right now. You know. Ooh, I wonder how Haruno feels about that. She probably has an instinctive dislike for her as well. I kind of assume. Oh god. God, he has all these like negative thoughts about everything everyone's saying, obviously, right? Like just this whole situation is such a nightmare. What exactly am I to you? A good question, I guess. They're kind of friends in a way. Is the middle of friend and One-chan really girlfriend? I don't really think so. Is that how it works? Like no. It's I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh god. Like about love. I want to hear about Hikigaya-kun's love life. Oh Jesus. Like please, please. And she brings up the dark story of the past. Right, right. And she doesn't even remember, right? She doesn't remember that they texted at all. I feel so bad for Hachiman. Like, look at him, you know? Oh God. So she has no clue about it, let alone remembers. Hmm. That's a long time ago, so who cares now? Well, Hachiman does, and so should you. You should not be talking like this. Like, come on. And then Hayama comes up. They want to be introduced. Haruno and Hayama are real close, evidently, right? Obviously, I guess that they interacted before, like back during the um well no, like kinda, right? Haruno showed up at like the end of the school trip stuff. I don't know. I don't know. So Hayama shows up. What did Haruno get from all of this? I mean she says it was just fun, right? I guess. I always feel like there's some kind of ulterior motive in everything she does, but I don't know. It sounded amusing. Is that really it? I guess. I guess. Hmm. I'd love to see the look on Yukino-chan's face if she ever hears about this. Interesting. Like, was she trying to do something for Hachiman here? Do something with him? You know? I'm just really not sure. Haruno is such an enigma to me in so many ways. I don't know. I don't know. Leaves Hachiman and Hayama alone. Hmm. She's just messing with me. She wouldn't mess with people she had no interest in. Maybe. Yes, I suppose. She either smothers the one she likes or destroys the one she hates. That's easy as hell. It's scary as hell. That's interesting. Very interesting. Again, that's another thing that kind of feels like a Hachiman-esque idea to me, right? Yeah, yeah. God, poor Yui. Like, look at her, right? Like, girl, come on. It's so bad. Just the whole situation right now. She's trying so hard to keep them together and to, like, I feel so bad for her. Hmm. I didn't want it to look like we're doing it behind your back, because that is, from Yui's perspective, that's something that does bother Hachiman a lot, right? Like the misunderstanding people's like I guess just their motivations and everything. That was the big problem in their relationship before, back in season one, right? Stuff with the dog. So makes sense that Yui has like this worry, right? Obviously. God. It's been so long since Yukinoshita and I were last in direct opposition, but nothing's changed since then. Yes, it has. Once again, she'll reject my way of doing things. But if nothing's changed, then it's perfectly fine by me. And that's what I mean when I say it would be weird if Yukino just wins. You know what I mean? Because that's what Hachiban thinks will happen. That's he thinks that would be nothing changing. And things will change. Things have to change, you know? So I don't know. I don't know. So we need someone else to run for president, and to run for president and beat Iroha. He wants to lose to someone amazing? Sounds like Yukino to me, right? Thought up the election pledge and speech. If Yukino thought of it, sounds like she should be the one to deliver it, huh? Yeah, it's gonna be her. It has to be her, right? The fact that you're coming up with the election pledge would mean that that candidate would be a total puppet. Are you okay with that? We just really get into it. Assuming they get elected, what happens to the student council's operations once they do? Yeah. God, it's just this competition to poke holes in the other's way of doing things, I suppose. Plan seems bad and pointless if you consider future complications. What about the complications for you with your method, right? You always... just because they're all on you, in your mind, doesn't mean it's not bad, right? Like, come on. What point is there to your methods, then? It's a good question, right? It's just a one-time gambit to help her avoid the worst possible outcome. But it's been one time every single time, you know what I mean? It's not one time for you, it might be one time for her. What about you, right? Yeah, you're always avoiding the root issue. Yeah. Did it cause any problems? Yes, yeah, it's upholding the superficiality in a way, right? The superficiality of who you are right now, in a sense, you know? Oh, God. Like, look at Hiroha's face to all of this, you know? Like, we're here to talk about our plans for all of this, and then we're talking about, like, this philosophical idea of change and superficiality and all of this. It's like, what did she get herself into, you know? God. Oh, and he just gets up to leave. Yeah. Silently, Yukinoshita Yukino makes her decision to decision to what? To fight? To not let Hachiman get away with it? Maybe, right? But that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be, like, impossible, isn't it? Right? Like, can you force change on Hachiman? Is that possible? Will he let that happen? Is it even really forcing change on him? I mean, maybe, in a sense. You're making him lose, but if he just sees it as himself losing, then as he said before, that would be normal as well, right? So, God, I don't know. What would if Yukino herself is the one who runs for student council president, what would that mean to Hachiman? You know, what would he think about that? You know, if she is basically the one to take all of this onto herself rather than him, in a very different way, but like still, right? I don't know. That was such a good episode, though. I loved that episode. It was so good. Um, okay, well, I suppose that is it. So, if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.